Kamala Harris will face off against Donald Trump in the first presidential debate between the two on September 10th on ABC News. And today, Kamala Harris locked herself down and she went into debate prep mode. But before she did that, she called into a radio show. And I think we got a little taste of how Kamala is going to interact with Donald Trump during the debate. Now, this first one, I think, is how she's going to respond to when Donald Trump attacks her for flip-flopping.
Listen, I think that it's time to move forward and to chart a new way forward. And we need to turn the page on this Trump era. You know, this person who has talked about how immigrants poison the blood of America. This person who seeks to divide our nation, belittling people, belittling members of the military, for goodness sake. We need to have a leader and a president who understands the ambitions and the dreams and the hopes and the prayers of the people, and then goes to where that is to help meet those ambitions and those dreams. That's the kind of vice president I've been. That's the kind of president I will be. And I think that's what the American people want right now, is a leader who actually understands the sign of strength is not based on who you beat down. It's based on who you lift up, and bringing the country together so we can get on with doing the good and important work that people really want to do every day.
The reason I said that is because Kamala brought up, that's who I've been and that's who I will be as president. That's how she's responded to the accusations that she flip-flops on things like fracking, which is really important to people in Pennsylvania, which is a swing state, which could determine the outcome of the election. Now, in this next clip, we're going to hear Kamala talk about her economic plan.
First of all, it is putting more money in the pockets of middle-class people. And I come from a middle-class background, unlike my opponent, who had a rich daddy who helped him start his career, and then he went bankrupt multiple times. I come from a middle-class background, raised by a working mother who put all of her hard work into me and my sister Maya. But I will tell you, the tax issue is really pretty basic for me. The billionaires and the biggest corporations can afford to pay more, and they've got to pay their fair share. And that's one of the ways that I will address what we need to do to make sure that everyone is carrying their weight. And my plans, and the economists have talked about my plans, my plans will actually reduce the deficit by $1 trillion as compared to my opponent, who could keep, because he gives tax breaks to the richest people, contributing to the deficit and not helping the middle class, because, of course, teachers and nurses and firefighters should not be paying more in taxes than the richest people in our country.
Now, you gotta love how Kamala started that clip. Donald Trump's got a rich daddy. I didn't have a rich daddy. I had a hardworking mom. I worked in McDonald's. I know what it's like to be a middle-class kid. I know what it's like to struggle. Donald Trump, on the other hand, listen to this. His budget proposes just tax cuts for everybody. Middle class, $2,800 in tax cuts. Billionaires and corporate CEOs, you get $330,000 in tax cuts. It's like Oprah Winfrey up in this. Everybody look under your chair. That's not feasible. Somebody's going to have to pay for that. Kamala, on the other hand, says, no, I'm going to tax billionaires at a higher rate. I'm going to tax those corporations at a higher rate because they can afford to pay for investments in healthcare, investments in affordable housing, investments in childcare. And that's how she says she's going to reduce the deficit. Now, that's kind of controversial, her statement about reducing the deficit by $1 trillion, because we have estimates that her budget will add $1.7 trillion to the deficit over 10 years. Now, on the other hand, Donald Trump's budget will add $5.8 trillion to the deficit over that same time period. And that's without investing in anything. That's just giving billionaires and corporate America their tax cuts. Now, the reason why Kamala there says that her budget will reduce the deficit by over $1 trillion is because she is making the argument that those investments in early childhood education, in infrastructure, in healthcare will actually lessen the burden the government plays in people's lives, because people won't be as sick anymore. People won't have to spend so much money on childcare. which will hurt their pocketbooks. They'll have more money to spend in the economy. So Donald Trump here is just promising everything to everyone. And during this debate, Kamala is going to point out that that is utterly insane. And I think this just gave us a little taste of what is to come on September 10th. Now, let me know what your thoughts are on Kamala's clips here and what you think is going to happen during the debate. Also, be sure to like and share this video so that you bring other perspectives into the fold, and subscribe to Reflect if you haven't already so that you get my future videos about the election delivered straight to you. Thanks again for watching. My name is Brendan Plank with Reflect here on YouTube. See you in the next video.